Hey y'all, welcome to Keeping It Real Estate with Kristen. I'm Kristen Goyette. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Motto Mortgage Complete, and this podcast is about all things real estate. And today I have my realtor friend, Elliott Squires with Homeward, Carolinas. So welcome, Elliott.
Thanks, I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Tell us about yourself and your journey into the real estate world.
My journey into the real estate world, when I was a child, my mom had a furniture store, and I loved to go with her to look at people's houses and stuff, and that made me just fall in love with the idea of just homes in general.
Right.
And, long story short, got a job at the real estate school as an admin, and ended up sitting for the exam and just went from there. That was 11 years ago.
All right, 11 years. And this is your second realty company that you've started.
Correct, yes.
Right, awesome.
I co-owned one, and now this one is all me.
Super. So right now the hot topic is interest rates. It's been a hot topic for a long time now. So how do you handle it when clients are asking you or mentioning interest rates and home buying and all that?
It's funny I asked because I just talked to somebody about this morning actually. They purchased something in the 90s. And I asked them what their rate was, and they had to stop and think for a second. And they looked at each other and they're like, I guess it was about 8%, wasn't it? So, and they're thinking, you hear that rates are high.
Right.
Historically, they're not high.
Exactly.
And even, I try to explain to people and educate a little bit, without doing your job, of course, that rates were lowered when they were lowered after the quote-unquote recession crash, whatever words you want to use for it.
Right.
No one likes to talk about it, but it happened. So rates were lowered to get buyers back in the market, and I think they were just kept too low for too long. And if you look, they did creep back up, 2013, 2014, they were under 4%. They creeped back up, they kept fluctuating. And people just got used to seeing rates below 5%. So now if they see 6%, they think it's astronomical. It's really not.
Right. And they're fluctuating. Interest rates are based on how much home you're buying, what's your credit score, how much your loan amount is going to be. And so they're fluctuating right now anywhere from, I had a guy today, I locked him in at 6%.
That's great.
So 6 to 8%. I mean, I've got some that have gone up to 8%. But it is individualized, and I think that's something that's important for people to understand. But also, I had a friend on one of my podcast episodes, and we were talking about how the interest rates need to be at this level, this 6 to 8% to kind of stabilize our economy.
This is where the market is most stabilized, even though you still see low inventory. That's keeping buyers on their toes, of course.
Right.
It's good for sellers. It depends on the market you're into. Like in Wake Forest, I chose Wake Forest because it, back in March, it was becoming more of a buyer's market, and now it's shifted back in just 90 days back to a seller's market.
Right.
It's just, and when you say seller's market, it just means there's more buyers than there is inventory, right? It doesn't mean you shouldn't buy right now or anything.
That's right.
So I want people to
just means it's a good time to sell your home because you're going to get top dollar. You're going to get multiple offers most likely. I've been kind of impressed, or I won't say impressed, I've been kind of intrigued at how the market has remained so hot over the past year. Because I came in right when interest rates shot back up and everybody was running around screaming the sky's falling. Right. And so for the whole year, it has been interesting that the market has stayed hot. People are still getting multiple offers, getting over asking price for their homes. So if you are remotely interested in selling your home, now is the time, and my friend Elliott can help you.
And I had the thing about the over asking price. I had a client in Washington, Beaufort County, that was worried, and he's there in like the first time buyer price range, like the under 200. That's really, really hot in Washington. While they were looking at stuff that's in the 4s now. So that price range over there kind of missed their mark last year. because Washington's in a different market than we are.
Gotcha.
Even though they're 45 minutes down the road,
Right.
it's a completely different world over there, it seems
Right.
like. So I just want people to know the market is different in every zip code, just about.
Very good point.
Right.
Yep.
So, and that's why I like working in every market, because different people need different things and
That's
want different things, and you know,
Right. Absolutely.
yeah.
So what's been the biggest strategy to you building your business, especially kind of starting over on your own firm now?
So-
You kind of got to build yourself back up, and you moved to a new city,
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
which I admire. I think that's wonderful.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it so far. So I've always believed that people drive the industry.
Right.
So it's a service industry, right? Or it should be treated as a service industry. So you want to build relationships with people. So I don't pay for lead generation services.
Okay.
I understand that people, you know, there's a market for the Zillow and the Realtor.com
Yes.
and stuff, but agents who pay for that stuff, it's like we're trying to buy back our own data and our own information, in my
Right.
opinion. And I just believe that you get people see more value in you when you get to know them as a person, what they're looking for, and they're more than just a lead coming in on the computer.
That's right. That's good. I like that. Absolutely. It's
Thank
all about relationship building.
All
I
about
think
relationships.
that's definitely been a common denominator in all these episodes. So when clients come to you and they're home shopping, whether they're first time or second time, and what kind of advice are you offering to your clients?
It's a hard conversation to have, but especially for first-time buyers who want it all right now, like they want it all. A lot of people, so rates going back up where they are have humbled people to the point where they don't want to live above their means.
Right.
And I think that was a huge deal a couple years ago when rates were so low, because people thought, you know, I can afford this, I'm going to buy it. Just because
Right.
and I'm sure you talk to people about this all the time, just because you're approved for it doesn't mean it's in your best interest to
Absolutely.
purchase a home for that price.
Right.
So, and compromise and sacrifice are totally different things.
Oh, that's good.
You should compromise, you don't have to sacrifice.
That's very good. I like that. So yes, I do have those conversations when I'm pre-approving folks, especially folks who are like, I want to know what my max amount is.
Mm-hmm.
So I go ahead and give them interest rate, possible payment. I mean, I don't know exactly what their payment's going to be because I don't know what their insurance and taxes is going to be.
Right.
But I can get a pretty good idea based off the platforms that I have access to. So I say to them, you know, this is what your payment would be, but remember, you probably like to go out and eat a little
Right.
couple of
I
times
do.
a week,
I know I
maybe
do.
even daily. You know, putting gas in your car. Your kids, maybe if you have children, they like to do things. I mean, maybe you're
If
a
you want to up and
golfer.
leave town and go to the beach for the weekend.
Exactly.
And, you know, Airbnbs and hotels aren't cheap.
No,
So
no.
you have to.
And
account for
sitting
that
at
kind of
home all the
stuff.
time gets old.
It
You know, no
does.
matter how
You
much
wanna
you
get
love
tired
your
of
house on the front end, you know.
You do get tired of it, and
Yeah.
people that, when rates were so low during the height of COVID, and people, you know, the market was just insane because everybody was moving because people wanted to or had to be home in some cases.
Right.
You know, they bought more property than they really needed because just because they could, they did, kind of thing.
Yep.
And so that shot prices up, and I think, you know, people expected rates going, but prices and rates are two totally different things.
Right.
And people, you know, in some towns and zip codes, they drive each other, but like Pitt County, definitely Wake County, they, you know, you can tell somebody their rate's going to be 8% or 4%. It doesn't matter. They still need a property.
Right.
They still know what they want, and they're going to buy it.
Yep. Yep. And that's what I've noticed, that there's a lot of buyers out there. If you pay attention to the social media or the news media, you will think that the market is just dead. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's scared, and it's so not true. There's so many buyers. We need more sellers, but people are getting married. They're ready to buy a home. People are getting divorced. Unfortunately, they need a home.
I went on a listing appointment yesterday. Some people that they purchased during the height of COVID, they're separating, unfortunately, but they were, they had this misconception that their property was worth like 70 grand less than it is. And I told them what we could sell it for, and they were like, "Are you sure?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes, I promise." And that's actually, I think, less than what, that's a very, very
conservative number.
To get multiple offers, and because that's what you want to see. I'm not in the business for price reductions. I like to list something for what I know is going to get buyers in the door.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't want something to sit for 60 days and we see price reductions. And
instead
of dropping a price, I'm telling people to offer like a rate buy down or something that a buyer can't pay for.
Absolutely. So that's a fun fact. There is such a thing as using seller concessions to buy down your rate temporarily. So if you're concerned about interest rates, you could reach out to your realtor or a loan officer, and we can talk to you more about that. So that is a great point. Instead of lowering the price, get those seller concessions and buy down the rate.
And I really don't know if it's just a lack of knowledge or education, or a lot of agents haven't even dealt with it before.
Right.
But there should not be any price reductions in this. I mean, again, it depends on where you are. But if you're in Greenville, most of the markets in Wake County, if you're dealing with a price reduction, you should have just offered to buy down an interest rate and priced it a little bit lower to start with. You get more buyers in the door.
Right.
That's what we want to see. It's not, a buyer may disagree, but
yeah,
that's what.
It's the truth. It's the way the world works. So, how many families did you serve last year? I know you were kind of transitioning in between your companies.
Honestly, I stopped. When I worked for an international firm, they made us keep count of that, and as soon as I left, I stopped keeping track because because to me it really doesn't matter as long as I did my best for as many people as I could.
Absolutely.
That's all that matters to me.
I like that. I love that theory.
Thank you. But I mean, if I had to put a number on it, it may have been 40.
Okay.
But I really don't know.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. You're not driven by numbers. You're driven by helping others. Yeah, that's good. So what are your service areas for the audience out here?
Mostly, I'm always going to be a Pitt County person. I was born and raised in Greenville, so I'm always going to serve Pitt County. But so Eastern North Carolina, Central North Carolina. Yeah. I do service the Charlotte market, but that's also like a new market for me. That was kind of people begged me to do that, so
cool.
It's just on like an as needed thing over there.
Right.
But so Triangle, Piedmont, Eastern North Carolina, from Raleigh to the coast.
Cool. I just got back from Charlotte. I absolutely love it there.
Charlotte is cool.
They got some expensive houses there, some nice real estate. I was like, as needed.
Yeah, it's like a different world over there too. It's a different world over there too. You've got a lot more buyers than there are properties. So,
Yep. Join the club, right? Join the club of not enough properties. So what's been your biggest strategy to building your business?
So really, I mean, it sounds simple and cliche, but as soon as if I have a client working in a neighborhood, we'll walk over to the neighbors and say, this is so-and-so, they're looking in your, what can you tell us about your neighborhood? What do you like about your neighborhood?
Cool.
I put them on my mailing list, and that's another contact, right? So just talking to people, even if they're not in the market to buy right now or ever will be, it's still a contact that they'll hopefully know my name, know my face, and tell somebody if they hear somebody needed something real estate related to call me. So
absolutely. Again, building relationships. So tell us about, I know every transaction is meaningful, but one that stands out in your head right now when I say what's a most recent meaningful transaction that you've had?
So they're actually in the process of, we're still looking right now. It's a Beaufort County family. They brought grandma down from New York to live with them after grandpa passed. So they're looking for like a multi-generational home right now, and it's been fun. It's like a TV show because they're, somebody wants one thing, somebody wants one thing, and then I'm like, well, how about this? And they're like, well, we didn't even think about that, and it's just funny. So it's going to be It's grandma, mom, dad, granddaughter. So it's going to be 4 generations under one roof.
Oh,
I think it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I had an open house with another realtor one time. We had a family come in, and they were just telling us about what they were looking for. And, you just made a good point that you've helped them think of some things that they haven't thought of. And that's why it's so important to work with a professional. Even if you're just looking, especially if you're looking, because it doesn't cost anything to use a realtor if you're buying, and you can help think outside the box for the client. And
that's one of my favorite things to do. So if somebody tells me, I know I want to live in a certain, and I know that they're either going to be stretching their comfort zone or there's just nothing that fits their needs list in that neighborhood, well, how about this? And they're like, but then I drop them over there and they're like, I'm really glad you made me come over here.
Right.
Or even like another town in general,
Right.
another town.
Yeah, maybe going a little bit more rural or something.
Closer to, further from where they thought they wanted to be, but they get a lot more for their money.
Yep.
And that's why, the rural markets they're just as important, because there are properties there. You still can get more for your money in most cases.
Right.
And people need, everybody needs a place to live, so
Absolutely.
Why not look at all your options?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That way you're really making an informed decision.
Right.
If you've got all your options out here and you can be like, okay, let me make a decision. Versus just looking at one house and just thinking you've got to have this one house in this one location.
And I think that was a big thing for, like, I got on people that I worked with for it. Like, they, somebody wanted this one property that 25 other families or people, had bid, made offers on, and they were so upset. And I was, it's just like, so what's your plan of action now?
Right.
And I hate hearing, I don't know.
Yes.
You should always have a plan of action. You should always have an idea of what to do for your client if what they want doesn't work out.
Right. That's good advice. I like that.
Thank
So, if you had a first-time home buyer watching today, what advice would you give to them outside of don't go above your means? What are some other important things that they need to be thinking about?
So, your must-have list, there should only be, I think, 1 or 2 things max on a must-have, like a no compromise. But if there's like 5, 6, 10 things on I must have this, you're going to be disappointed.
Right.
And we
That's
don't
good.
see people disappointed. You can make, it doesn't matter what you buy, you can make it into whatever you want.
I agree.
If you want to, if you can't afford what you want right this second, that's okay. Buy something you can afford.
Mm-hmm.
In a couple of years, I guarantee you'll be able to, with that equity, take a step up.
Right. Absolutely. Rome wasn't built in a day.
That's exactly
Be patient.
Right. That's right. And I've got to tell myself that too. As a new business owner, I get lost in the phase sometimes, and I'm like, well, this didn't work out, and I'm like, yes, it's okay.
That's right.
Tomorrow's a new day. It's a new start. It's all
Exactly right. We have to tell ourselves that a lot, don't we, in this world?
It's all good.
So, you've been in the business now for 11 years. I know a lot has changed, but what stands out the most to you? What's changed?
I really don't know most. There's a lot of brokers that are agents. We're all brokers, by the way, guys. So
You ever wondered?
You say broker, I say agent. There's a lot more agents than so agents that were in the business when I started have either retired or they can't deal with the market shifts and they do something else, or a lot of brokers who were licensed during the height of COVID when the market was just insane.
So easy.
They didn't know how a real market was.
Right.
And I hate to say it like that, but they didn't have the guidance or the education to keep going.
Right, to navigate when you actually have to get out here and work a little bit now. I've heard that said
And
for
fun.
loan officers as well.
I hated the 21, 22 mark. I did not like it because I feel like a lot of people didn't get what they should have gotten.
Right.
Out of a transaction.
Right.
So now
because everything was quick and crazy.
You didn't have time to make, or they felt like they didn't have time to make a decision. And then if they lost the property, they were sad, or
Right.
And I'm like, there's always another thing out there. But people that felt rushed are the ones that are unhappy now.
Right.
And they're upset that if I sell this, I've got, now my new rate's going to be double what it was. And, so what? If you're unhappy and you need, you want to move. It shouldn't matter what the interest rate is. It shouldn't matter the stuff that you can't control.
That's right.
Shouldn't matter.
That's right.
The stuff that you can control, like where you're living,
right,
is what should matter.
Absolutely. I agree. That's good. So what's your biggest goal for 2023? Now that we're already 3/4 of the way through it. What was your goal, and have you met it, or are you on board to meet it?
I'm on board to meet it. So I really just wanted to get into my new home market and just meet people, get to know some agents there that have worked there forever, and just talk to them about how they feel about the market, just like me and you are doing right now. Right. How they feel about the market, what it's done in the past 3 years, because the MLS only tells you so much.
Right.
So let's talk to somebody that's been doing it that's been there and dealing with it.
Yeah.
You don't know.
That's true. Very true. So what would you be doing if you were not a real estate agent? Have you ever wanted to do anything else?
Oh yeah. So as a kid, both my parents are nurses by trade. So okay. My mom, of course, started her design firm, but when I was a kid, she worked in the NICU. Mm-hmm. So I thought about, I wanted to be a pediatrician for a long time. I wanted to be a P&P for a little bit. And I, you never know. I still, I've thought about doing it just to have, just to be able to do it,
Right.
But I'm always, this is my dream.
Right.
I wanted to be an architect for a while until I realized that you have to be under somebody for, a certain amount of time before you can do what you want to do. And,
yeah.
I wanted to design homes and be a developer, and
Yep.
I wanted to do everything, but it also stems back to what I'm doing now.
Right. So. Everything boils back down to real estate. So, before we wrap up today, tell us something fun or interesting about yourself that most people may not know. All your friends are watching, so let's surprise them with something.
Yeah. Okay, you got me with that one.
Like me, I was an extra in a movie one time.
I've got one. So, when somebody asks me, have you ever invested in property? This might be I'm gonna make people mad with this one, but I'm not in the business for people to be tenants. I'm in the business to help people become homeowners. So right. I do not own rental property because I don't want to be a hypocrite.
Right. So
that's something that you might, or an answer that you might not hear from me. But
that's very good. That's a great answer. I've thought about that too as a loan officer. We're constantly preaching stop renting, start owning. Mm-hmm. So how can you be a landlord? But right. It is a stepping stone to rent. There's nothing wrong with being a renter.
Right. Absolutely.
Whether you're just getting started in life, my son's renting. Of course, we're doing everything we can to help him get prepared to buy his first home as soon as he can. But maybe you're transitioning in between homes. I mean, I've had to rent before in between homes. So there are cases that it's necessary.
Oh, yeah,
but long term, we don't want people to be stuck in.
I just mean me as a realtor. If it's my job to help families become homeowners and find their American dream, I'm not going to own a property where
you're hindering that.
Renting.
Right.
That's what I was trying to say.
That's good. You made your point.
There's nothing wrong with renting.
I was just trying to soften the blow. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching today. And if anybody's interested in contacting you, Elliott, how can they get up with you?
My website is homewardnc.com. You can find me on Facebook or Instagram under Homeward Carolinas, or you can call me directly or text me at 252-702-8190.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
And if you need financing for Elliott to show you some houses, I would love to help you. Kristen Goyette, Motto Mortgage Complete, 252-560-8632. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you.